Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Eric Nentrup, hosting yet again another episode of the Summer Conference Partner Showcase for Keep Indiana Learning's 2022 Summer of E-Learning event, hashtag virtually different. Joining me today in this episode are my friends over at Zoom, led by my buddy Lauren, and here we are in the live stream, ready to talk to you guys about what Zoom has been up to. You guys all know that Zoom has been a big part of our lives in the last couple of years, more so than before. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what they're doing, particularly for the field of education. And today, Lauren's going to be sharing with us some of those product features along with her teammates. Not to mention some ways that they are using Zoom in active classrooms, and we hope to hear from some of those users as well. And I just want to start by saying hi to Lauren. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us on. My colleague should be hopping in just a minute, but if not, you'll have me. I am the K-12 lead for Indiana, and there's Lance. Lance, we are live. We are streaming out to YouTube right now. So
I was just in Texas like 2 minutes ago, and now here I am in India.
Here we are. Yep. But I'm Lauren. I'm the K-12 lead for Indiana, and I also work with all of our school districts in Illinois and Wisconsin. And I'm a former teacher. I'm Philadelphia based, sitting in my home office in Philadelphia. And I'll pass things over to Lance for a quick intro.
Yeah. So everybody, welcome to Southeast Oklahoma. I'm Lance. Dr. Ford, hey you, whatever. Just don't call me late to dinner. Okay, that's the important thing. I'm a classroom teacher. It's what I've been doing for 29 years. Yeah, 29 years. I'm in summer school right this second for my online classes for the college. You're attached to Howell, Oklahoma. This is my office here at the school. My classroom is through there. And then for Zoom, my title is Zoom Room Educator, which means that I get to work with amazing folks all over the world, educators, leaders in schools who are thinking about how do we really bring rich media, regardless of where teachers, students, parents are, to one experience, right? And that's what this is really all about, is getting the technology out of the way for me as an instructor and let me do my job, which is teach my class. Now we've been joined by our good friend, John. He's over here to me. I don't know where he is for you, but John, can you hear us okay?
I can. Good to
awesome.
see you.
You want to introduce yourself, buddy?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is John Fisk. I lead K-12 education for Zoom. And across our whole team, we support the entire Midwest. So we've got a whole team of folks here that are excited to talk to you today. And my esteemed colleague, Lance Ford, is going to lead the presentation because, as you can tell, he's a much more animated presenter than I am. So thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Lance.
Yep. Awesome.
Eric,
if we can go ahead and share out that presentation, we will kick things off.
There you go.
All right. Cool. Thank you. So really, we want to hammer home today that Zoom is way more than traditional video conferencing that we kind of became known for pre-pandemic and during the pandemic. We have so many other initiatives that we're working with major school districts close to you guys, like Green Bay area public schools, the big University of Michigan, are doing a lot of cool things with our phone solution and our conference room solution. But because I know a lot of you are teachers, we are today going to focus on different ways that you can use the Zoom meetings platform. But just wanted to kind of get that out there, that Zoom is way, way more than just meetings. We'll hit that next slide. Is that on me, Eric?
We can't quite hear you, Eric.
Let's see. You're muted and it's still on the first slide. So if we can move on, unless I have control over that. Awesome. Cool. So just a few things to look out for. We have included two kind of PSAs. The checkout bolded little warning there, and then also use case. So we've thrown in some great tips that you can use in your meetings, whether that's student facing and instruction, or as we embark on summer, more professional development and things like that when you maybe report back in the fall. Ready for that next slide? Awesome. So we'll kind of quickly dive in here. As I said, Zoom is much more than meetings. And so one of just the small kind of pieces of this Zoom puzzle right here, this wheel, is Zoom meetings. But Zoom also has a chat functionality that is free to you in your district if you are already using Zoom. That functions similar to Slack. I wish that when I was teaching 5th and 6th grade math, I had a quick chat when my 5th graders would say, Miss Middleman, we didn't learn that last year. Well, then I could just go in my quick chat with my 4th and 3rd grade math teachers and say, did you cover that standard last year? Because, Jessica is saying that you didn't. So things like that you can kind of bucket people within your school and district. A few other things, Zoom phone, that is really, really, really taking off. That may be more of a conversation for some of you leaders on the tech team at your district. But for teaching staff, if you ever do kind of get your hands on Zoom phone or are involved in those types of conversations, that includes SMS text messaging, MMS, E911, all built in from the ground up. I know when I was teaching, I have so many parents that had my personal cell phone. And if I had Zoom phone, I could have kind of separated, church and state, and made even my, classroom phone number that, the front office dials into. I could have made text messages and made work calls, but from my iPhone using my classroom phone number. So that would have been really cool. And that Zoom phone's really, really taking off. Webinar and events is a great platform to use for graduations, fundraisers. You can ticket whether you're charging or not. So that's Zoom events and webinar. And then digital signage and our conference room solution is kind of looped into Zoom rooms that Lance is going to touch on in just a minute. And that's really, really great for boardrooms, conference rooms, rooms, that you might have IEPs that maybe parents can't come into, but they can Zoom in from home. So a lot of things that help collaboration and unified communications that's, much beyond Zoom meetings. We will kind of move on from here. Can we go to the next slide? Awesome. So we have some Zoom did you knows. And I think as a team here, Lance and John, we can all kind of jump in and go from there.
Let's do it. Kick our slide forward, my friend. Let's see what we got first is our Zoom did you know. All right. The very first thing says live translation. Did you know that Zoom would allow you to actually have closed caption as a part of every Zoom session? Eric, if you'll take that down for 1 second, I'm going to actually demonstrate these things as quickly as I possibly can. And I'm going to do it by doing this. So I know this looks weird, right? Because I'm like in the corner and I'm up here. Sorry about that. This is the Zoom meeting that I'm in right now. Right down here at the bottom, you have a feature today in Zoom that you can enable called closed captioning. Closed captioning then takes everything I'm saying and, whoa, wait a minute. Am I speaking Spanish all of a sudden? What's happening here? No, I'm actually speaking English, and in real time, everything I'm saying is being translated to Spanish. That's not publicly available yet. It's going to be coming this fall. It's just right around the corner. But for those of you who have parents that you're dealing with, or maybe even students who English is not their first language, check this out. I can translate to, and here are my languages in the language list. I know it's a little blurry, so Chinese, Dutch, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Ukrainian, Vietnamese. Holy cow. So that's the first did you know. Did you know Zoom could provide that as a service for you right out of the box? All right, Eric, this is going to be like you were going to be working out. Bring that thing back up and let's go to number 2. Here we go.
Bring up the slides?
Yes, just real quick.
We're gonna
There you go. Okay. All right. Tracking with you, Lance. I'm keeping up.
You got it. So this one, I'm going to let Lauren talk about because that's her picture there. Lauren, What is happening with Zoom and Whiteboard?
Yep. So we used to have a whiteboard and we have revamped it. It is amazing now. So the new whiteboard, I broke it out because, I'm a former teacher, into 2 different use cases. The first, you can use the whiteboard during live instruction. You can pull things in like shapes, images, videos. You can live annotate. You can save them. You can refer back to different versions of your whiteboard. This is great for providing direct instruction. Students can annotate alongside. I thought we would maybe, have some live participation here. I was going to ask if, $10 to anyone who knows what formula that is. It's the quadratic equation. And it's really helpful. You can split kids into breakout rooms and, push out the same whiteboard, have them annotate, and then compare answers. So this first one is during live instruction in a class utilizing the whiteboard. We'll kind of move on to that next slide for a second use case, which is using the whiteboard outside of class. So this is really helpful for, students. Just one way can be submitting assignments via their whiteboard. And you can provide, feedback via sticky note, text. You can make a connection on their, you can draw on a correction. This is helpful for, they can even, in a creative way, they could upload an essay, and then you can go through like a grammar or writing teacher, and you could annotate their essay rather than necessarily doing it with pen and paper. So just, a lot of creative ways to use the new whiteboard. You can, again, save them, push them out, study. It's really up to you. So that's super exciting.
Just real quick, if you'll take it down for just one split second, what we're going to do here is we're going to try to do what I did a minute ago with the translate. Oh, look at you go, Eric. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go. If you're looking for whiteboards, I'm sorry, I'm a music teacher, y'all. As you can tell, I get pretty excited. If you're looking for whiteboards on your Zoom account, log into your Zoom account on the web. Underneath your profile on the left-hand side, take your eyes right down here. Whiteboards, there they are. It's blasted out there in new. And this, just like Lauren said, these whiteboards can be accessed both during the meeting, before the meeting, between the meetings. I can pick up by clicking on it and take off right from where I left off in class. Give students the ability to annotate in real time. I can give students or revoke that in real time if I don't want them messing with it while I'm doing direct instruction. All of those features are built into Zoom Whiteboard. All accessible once you're in meeting via the whiteboard button at the bottom of the Zoom meeting experience. No longer is it just one whiteboard where you just draw while you're in the meeting. You click that thing and all your past meetings are there.
Now, Lance, I saw something that caught my attention there too. I know we've been talking about use cases for supporting students with the whiteboard, and that is absolutely top of my list. However, I got all sorts of ideas based on how I saw that the whiteboards were organized in the backstage area there in your Zoom account.
That's what we love. That's what we love. No, I was just going to say, I commend you. That's what we love. Go for it.
Oh, just that I would be using this I'm going to bring this back up because I thought it was so impressive. All the different ways I would be using this to keep collaboration moving forward with my teammates, especially if we were co-planning or we were sharing students or we were co-teaching even. I'd have access, it looks like, to anything that somebody would share with me, right?
You got it. Shared with me, my own whiteboards, all the whiteboards, the ability to bring in an external collaborator as a viewer or an owner or an editor. Or maybe you don't want them editing anything. You need them to be able to comment on the things that are there. Just put little text bubbles over different areas. Lauren brought up student work and the ability for students to not modify what other students are doing, but just comment in different areas to give that peer review moment. You got it, Eric. Great call out.
Super cool. Wow, that is an absolute game changer as far as I'm concerned. Between staff to staffs, maybe even parents where applicable, but primarily for sharing data that you see in a formative assessment or a very quick and down and dirty brainstorm a session for an intervention or an instructional activity, or even outside of academics, just a way to further make ourselves more productive and make our learning and our thinking visible. That's a game changer. Way to go.
The good news, Eric, is it's included in your Zoom account, so you don't have to pay for anything else. That's just a part of your Zoom license.
Well done. Well done to your product team there, Lauren and John. That's great.
All right, Lauren,
would you guys
take another one?
Yep.
We'll try to make it snappy, Eric, I promise.
All right. Lance, you want to take this one?
Okay. So, Eric, I'm just going to cover off real quick on chat. poll, and Copilot, and then I'll let Lauren and John wrap this thing up. Bring it back to me one more time, my friend. Here we go. Chat, poll, and Copilot. Let's look at it. So we're back in our Zoom meeting, and one of the things that you know from Zoom is the ability to have chat. Now, when I say chat, every teacher just kind of for just a minute, right? Okay. But what you may not have ever seen, and I'm going to drag this over so you can maybe see it a little better. Right down here where it says to everyone and you shoot files and emojis, there's 3 little dots. You may have never seen this before, but on the fly, in the middle of class, you can determine, can they chat with anyone? Can they only chat with me as a teacher? Could they put something out there for everyone to see? And I never recommend this last one for middle schoolers, everyone and anyone directly, okay? But all of those are there for you. So don't panic. Chat is a great way to solicit nonverbal feedback in mass in real time. All right. Number 2, polls. Here we go. Oh, God. Eric, what are you? You're like a demon on this thing, man, now. Okay, so polls. Let's go back real quick to my Zoom account. I'm going to go here. We're going to get out of whiteboards, and we're going under the meetings tab. If you haven't already seen it, take your eyes to the right end. Polls, quizzes, new. Now, what's so new about this? Well, in the past, every poll and quiz that you created was associated either with a template or a specific meeting. Now we have the ability to create a poll that can be used across multiple meetings. All right. So we create them here. They're called advanced polls. I'm going to bring up one that I've already got done so you can see that you can add pictures to it. And it's no longer just single choice or multiple choice. It's matching, rank order, short answer, long answer, fill in the blank, rating scale. And you can set answers. Yes, that means you can turn a poll into a quiz. And you can harvest that content for you to be able to put back in that grade book. Now, once I'm in the meeting, how do I access all this work that I've done before the meeting? Well, it's real easy. We're in the meeting. We go to polls, quizzes. Here's all my polls and quizzes that I have enabled.
All right.
All I have to do is fire it off and launch. End of discussion. That's all there is to firing off those advanced polls and quizzes as a part of this. One last thing. Back to that slide for 1 second there. You're doing great. One last thing. Co-piloting. All right. Here we go. What do I mean by co-piloting? I mean, you as the teacher are trying to get your students engaged. You've shared your screen. You've shared content out. You've shared a website, something like this. And you're trying to get them to pay attention. So you're annotating or drawing on that. If you really want them to focus in with you, use this little tool right here under Spotlight that says Vanishing Pen. Because what I want to tell you is this is going to be on the test. Uh-oh, that line just went away. Yes, it did. Because Vanishing Pen forces the students to look at what you're highlighting as you're highlighting it, because once you release the highlighter, that annotation is gone. And yes, you can allow them to annotate. You can allow them to use the tool that says Arrow Tool and make choices. Like, this is my favorite, Dr. Ford. When they click with the Arrow Tool, their name is there. So each and every student would have their name inside an arrow on your screen, allowing you to know what they're struggling with or what they need help with or whatever. Get them involved individually. All right, that was real quick.
Wow.
And I know we're out of time, but I'm going to pitch it back to Lauren and John to wrap us up.
Awesome.
That's insane.
One more quick slide and then we can wrap things up. I know we're coming up at that 20-minute mark. So these are things that are already out for you guys to use in your Zoom meetings. Focus mode. If you are giving a quiz and want your students to be able to see you, but not necessarily see each other, focus mode is great. This is also great if you are sending them to do some independent work. Let's say they're doing a math problem or SSR, as we called it, super silent reading. Focus mode is great. This is also really great for student privacy. They might not want their classmates to see what their situation is at home. So highly recommend focus mode. To, again, simplify it, that is teacher sees all, students only see teacher. Immerse, you can be part of your scenes there. So you can use a PowerPoint, an essay, maybe student work as a virtual background. You can select from a template and it looks like Lance just put himself in a college style lecture hall. But you can put yourself and students in an immersive scene or shrink down, your head and then use like slides as a virtual background or something like that. Some fun options in there.
Oh my golly, that's fantastic.
This is also great for like virtual presentations. You could have 5 students presenting on Joan of Arc right there.
You sure could. Oh my
Awesome.
gosh.
Last one is that Zoom integrates with a ton of apps that are really, really helpful. I leaned on Kahoot every Friday afternoon for my homeroom. We used it. Heads up, there's so many other apps, so check out the marketplace. And that will do it for us. I will, Eric, pass out my email to anyone if you have questions. Reach out to the Zoom team. As I said, I support all K-12 in Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. I'm a former teacher. John and Lance are also here to support. So we would love to connect with you guys. Please reach out. That is genuine. Even if it's just to say hi, that you saw the presentation and you enjoyed it, even that would mean a lot to us. But reach out with questions, big or small, technical or not. We love Zoom.
That's amazing, Lauren. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Zoom is just getting started, is what it feels like to me. Yeah. That was an amazing demonstration, not just because Lance is so dynamic, but because you guys have really taken what may have been prior product innovations across different companies as applied to education. They've become standardized, and we expect certain conventions. You've been listening, you've been paying attention, and that's just so amazing that you guys have got the resources to devote to K-12, to meet teachers where they are, not just for the sake of continuing what we learned in the last couple of disruptive years, but for kind of underscoring the value of asynchronous education as an equity measure, meeting students where they are and respecting their readiness for contributing. We all know good and well that students do hold back in a real life classroom brick and mortar style. And with tools like this, they can feel welcomed in and can take the necessary creative risks to grow in a culture that is pervasively shutting that sort of stuff down in some ways, particularly in education, while our kids are, digital content creators naturally as a hobby anymore, right? So I'm blown away. This is just such a great look at what's under the hood of Zoom now. And it paints sort of a real clear picture, not a vanishing line, Lance, of where you're headed in support of that. So I want to encourage everybody here to reach out to Lauren and John. I'm sure you can get a hold of Lance one way or the other. He can't be that hard to find, based on what I just saw. Doesn't seem to be any quieter than I am. But I want to encourage everybody to make sure that as you're looking at the events next week, that you're making time to see what Zoom is doing above and beyond what they shared in this short little preview that you saw today. I want to give you guys the final word before I sign off. John, Lauren, or Lance, anything else that you'd like to share before we go?
Biggest thing I just want to highlight is that we covered a lot of exciting things for teachers in Zoom meetings in the classroom. But as I said at the beginning of our session, Zoom is more than meetings, right? So we didn't quite dive into it, but Lance has an amazing array of Zoom rooms. Zoom phone is, again, taking off in K-12. And I'll pass it over to Lance for a final word. I feel like, just look at his stance right there.
I just want to say, as a teacher, the last 2 years have been rough. I mean, let's be honest. In moments, my wife and I both teach her. She's alluded to it as a dumpster fire. Okay. So it's just been tough. I want to say on behalf of Zoom, thank you as teachers for continuing to work through the challenges and reach your learners. All kudos to you. Never recognized enough. We are here to help in any way that we can. So don't be strangers. We look forward to seeing you soon.
So great. You guys, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this event writ large, and cannot wait to see what you're going to share next week at the conference itself on the 14th and the 15th. In the meanwhile, between here and then, be sure to go back to Zoom and check out what is now available in your on the backstage area there, and make sure that you're implementing those to further your practice and reach even more students. Again, guys, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
You bet.